Best on Tour this week is presented by Best on Tour. Sign up for free at bestontour.net. Good morning and welcome to another edition of Best on Tour this week, presented by Best on Tour, where we talk about what happened on and off the water in the world of professional bass fishing. I'm your host, Matt Pangrac, along with Dave Rush from Best on Tour. And Dave, we're going to kick off today's show with a little bit of sad news from the bass fishing world, as a former classic champion, FLW title winner, and really an icon in the sport from an iconic family in the sport, has passed away at the age of 59.
Yeah, Dion Hibden passes away, 1997 Bassmaster Classic champion, 2000 FLW Cup champion, and son of the legendary Guido Hibden. Hibden family, synonymous with tournament fishing and bass fishing there in the Ozarks and really nationwide. This kind of the lore of the Hibdens was a big deal, but unfortunately, Dion had some health problems and passed away untimely, very young age. So he will be missed. A lot of great articles out there, honoring the late Dion Hibden. Highly suggest that if you are familiar with him, you take a look at those and kind of recount his life, his career. And, our thoughts and prayers are certainly with the Hibden family and all of his family and friends.
Yes, MLF, BASS friends have put a lot of great tributes out to Dion. If you're kind of new to the tournament bass fishing scene and aren't familiar with the Hibden family, worth going back and watching some old YouTube videos, kind of getting yourself up to date with it. Very influential in the tournament scene, continues on with Dion's sons who continue to fish, but a legacy that will never be forgotten in the bass fishing community, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely, Matt.
All right, let's move on to some tournament news. And unfortunately, we made it 6 days into the new year before the first disqualifications of the year kind of came down the pipeline. We talked last week about the first BFL of the season that took place on Sam Rayburn Reservoir, the first of the 3-hour scoping time limit periods. That went off flawlessly, where the co-angler and the boaters both, kind of decide, keep everyone on track with, you can scope for this 3-hour period. However, on the 6th, MLF came down with a press release announcing that Cole Moore of Louisiana, who had originally finished in second place with 19 pounds, 15 ounces, was boosted up to first place due to a first place DQ, actually 2 DQs in that event. According to the press release, boaters Evan Howe and Ethan Howe of Louisiana were disqualified from the event, stemming from a protest alleging that the anglers violated BFL rule number 10, stating in part that contestants may not use mobile communication devices to communicate with anyone about locating or catching fish during on tournament waters during tournament hours. Evan Howe admitted to the violation upon speaking with it, turned over text messages between the two, and both of those brothers claimed that they were unfamiliar with those rules, but it was a violation of the rules and they were disqualified.
Yeah, Matt, unfortunate turn of events there at Sam Rayburn. You mentioned the first BFL with the new scoping rules in place. I did a somewhat of a deep dive of the top 20 in last week's issue of Best on Tour, comparing the top 20 from previous 2025 Sam Rayburn tournament, generally the same time of year, to this one here in January. So if you have not checked that out, go check out the last week's issue of Best on Tour. It gives you a little comparison to kind of touch on that. But yeah, DQ was the news of that tournament, unfortunately, but they got it straightened out and they'll move on.
All right. Professional bass fishing at the top level returns this week, Dave, as the new look Bass Pro Tour with 50 anglers kicks off the 2026 season on one of the most famous venues in the country, Lake Guntersville.
Yeah, Matt, probably, in recent memory, the only big tournament that has been on Lake Guntersville in the month of January, a big cold front on the way to kick that thing off for the BPT season. 51 anglers will hit Lake Guntersville. New look for the BPT. We'll be interested to see what type of new coverage they can do with a smaller field. But yeah, it starts Thursday. You can check everything out on the Major League Fishing website. Thursday, start the tournament January 15th through 18th, 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Central Time is the live coverage. And man, we are about to kick off professional bass fishing season.
The bass fishing season concludes, typically with the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame ceremony, where they induct the new Hall of Fame anglers. This is getting me all choked up, Dave. But before that, you have to have nominations. Nominations are currently open, but not open for very much longer for the 2026 season. Any information on how you can nominate, if you're listening to this, someone for the 2026 Bass Fishing Hall of Fame?
Absolutely. Just do a quick Google search, take you to the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame website. Pretty easy. You just need to submit a detailed resume, comprehensive letter of recommendation, and any relevant articles online or publications you want to link to. And it's open to the public. So, if you think someone is worthy of being considered to be in the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame, the better job you do on your nomination, obviously, is the better chance that that person or persons, I feel like you can nominate several people if you'd like, take the time to do so, will be considered for nomination. So it's just part of the process, but it does close on January 15th. But you still have time if you are so inclined to nominate somebody for this year's class. And it's always a good deal when someone gets inducted, and even nominated is an honor as well. bassfishinghof.com. It's the big main lead thing there. You can download the form, fill it out. Super easy to do that. Become a better angler. Get behind the scenes of the top bass fishing tours. Learn the business side of the bass fishing industry and how to get sponsorships. The Best on Tour newsletter brings you all of that once a week, completely free. bestontour.net. We'll be back next Tuesday with another Best on Tour this week with Matt Pangrac and Dave Rush. Dave, we'll talk to you then. See you.